Welcome to another powerful broadcast. And I tell you what, I don't know how to even introduce Robert Kudla any better, but he's got some great, exciting news at TradeGeniusAcademy.com, and it's just a pleasure to have him with us. We got a lot to talk about, the Trump effect on markets, but what markets do you want to talk about? Bob, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, Paul. I mean, it's kind of like all of the above, drill, baby, drill, and crypto stocks, energy, everything, gold, everything's starting to really wake up now. So why don't you lead me through your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them the best I can.
All right, Bob, I want to do it and let you break this down for us. Bitcoin has exploded since you were on a month ago. But before we start talking about cryptocurrencies, people have been in the traditional markets. They've been worried about the value of the dollar. They're worried about the stock market and they've gauged that up or down. And of course, the price of gold, how that relates to world markets and the U.S. economy in general. So the Trump effect, let's start there because we're watching a stock market that's at 24,500. It's broke the record 67 times in 1 year. Gold is strong. Bitcoin's off the chart. Unemployment's a 17-year low. Is there anything to this Trump effect?
Yeah, I mean, there's, on the good side is that I think there's a lot of confidence in him in that he pretty much does what he says he's going to do. And in that sense, I think people have confidence in the, when people have integrity, you can kind of plan with that. So, so for that standpoint, it's really good. On the other half is that there's some really big things that are being papered over, and to the extent that Trump can outrun them, the economy will do fine. To the extent that Trump can outrun them, and I'm talking about, healthcare costs increasing again faster than income people can make. The tax cut thing is kind of still in flux. People really don't know if it's tax cut for them or tax increase for them. So that's kind of in flux too. And the stock market itself is, I think people have realized that basically the central banks from around the world aren't going to let it go down. So it's kind of a two-tiered thing, is that, you have an economy that I think is grinding along. And I live in California, Paul, and I always talk to the postman every day, asking him, and he said he's working flat out. He said he's never been so busy delivering Christmas gifts. So obviously somebody's making money and somebody's spending it. So it seems to be better than the naysayers say, but there's always these worries out in front of us.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look, what goes up must come down. I mean, we realize that's going to be part of the law of economics, the law of life, if you will. But certainly, like you said, the UPS drivers, they're hiring them. They can't get enough of them. Amazon. I mean, there's people running around everywhere in vans and trucks, and they're throwing packages. So the online sales are just off the charts. I don't know if the retailers are doing that great, the brick and mortar people, but certainly the online sales are way out, just exploded. So we have a strong, it's a strong economy when you see Main Street healthy. Isn't that right, Bob?
Yeah, and I think, Paul, you hit the right point here. I think what we're seeing is I think we're seeing emergences of things. You're talking about the brick and mortar is giving way to the online. In the currency world, the digital and crypto is taking away from the bank-centric and fiat world. And so to the extent one could take over, that where emerging is going to outrun the legacy, I think we're going to be fine. It's just that when they get into conflict, I don't think anybody really knows. And for me, healthcare seems to be the big bugaboo, is if they can't get that under control, I think it's just going to drown some people. So, it all depends on how they fix this tax cut thing. They take away more credits from people. I think it's going to cause some issues next year. But yeah, I absolutely, I think there's a phoenix rising out of an old way of doing things. It's just to see how fast it goes is my issue.
Wow, what a statement. The phoenix is rising out of the ashes. Well, you're right. There's industries change, okay? The highways took away from the rail, all the things we've seen, the electronic technology explosion, information explosion with the internet. And now we're seeing some shifts going on. People are looking at the stock market, and then they're looking at Bitcoin. And then they're looking at gold, and they're looking at the dollar value, and they're wondering what in the world should they do. And you can't, there's no denying Bitcoin. I just looked at it, $17,849 per Bitcoin. That's US dollars. And I'm looking at the stock market, 24,500. So, people are wondering, and the tax plan's not even passed yet. And to your point, we're not sure exactly, does the middle class get helped in this plan or not? They're still in conference. So what's your thinking how that's going to shake out, and is Bitcoin replacing the stock market, or is Bitcoin replacing the dollar?
Yeah, I think it's probably the second thing, not the first thing, is that, you have to realize, Bitcoin is a worldwide phenomenon, not a U.S. phenomenon, Paul. So, and the other thing too is the latest data that we have is less than 3% of people in the world have adopted cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin at all. And so this technology is underpinned by technology called the blockchain, and that's going to change everything. And Bitcoin is the king, and it's good to be the king, the first mover advantage. And more developers are going to be developing applications to use Bitcoin more effectively. So I think Bitcoin is going to be used as a trust, currency, and the dollar and the yuan and the euro and the yen are all going to suffer against it. And that helps the stock market, because as these currencies get devalued, people have to put their store of value into something that's going to retain value. And as long as the stock market and companies are profitable, people are going to put money in the stock market. But this phenomenon with the blockchain and with Bitcoin is people don't have to worry about draining the swamp anymore, Paul. They can just simply walk around the swamp. And,
wow.
And banks are really, this is an extinction level event for banks. You don't need a bank. I don't need a bank to do business with you. I don't need a credit card company. I don't need a debit card company. I own my asset myself. You own your asset yourself. You own your wallet. I own my wallet. And the transaction goes directly between us. I don't need permission from a bank. I don't need permission from a credit card company. I don't need permission from the government to move money. And I'll give you an example. Here in Southern California, obviously we have a high concentration of Hispanic folk. And you go into their restaurants, and you go into the grocery stores that have high clientele of Hispanic people. There's Bitcoin ATMs there. In the past, they'd have to go through money changers, they'd have to go through Western Union, they'd have to go through the bank, all kind of hassle.
Really?
People
Wait.
Go direct.
You're saying there is Bitcoin ATMs in some of the restaurants in California?
Yeah, even drive-thrus. Not drive-through Bitcoin, but I mean that fast food restaurants. Oh yeah, absolutely. People, look, they have family back in Mexico. There's an easy way for them to change money. They don't have to worry about getting robbed or ripped off.
And the government doesn't control it. I mean, they're not being regulated by banks, and they're not being regulated by U.S. government, and they're not being hunted down, I guess, by the IRS.
Well, the IRS, I want to be clear here with people, too, is that if people use this as a tax evasion scheme, do not.
Okay.
Do not. If you're making money on Bitcoin and you cashed it in, you pay your taxes.
Right.
And and I know you do. You and I do that as a moral basis. Give unto Caesar what belongs to him. But they'll know who you are. So
the people that are out there. So you're saying the people that are out there that are using Bitcoin, they have to also recognize, they have to record their earnings off of Bitcoin, or is it when they transfer it into U.S. dollars?
They don't know yet, but if you made a lot of money on Bitcoin and you cash it in, the governments around the world are going to be interested in that profit. So they're still working through the laws. But all I'm saying is that people are using it for that purpose. Then please don't, because that's personal. That's not the purpose of it. Number one, and number two is that cryptocurrencies aren't anonymous. They're pseudonymous. You and I have a public key. Somebody could track every transaction I've ever done on Bitcoin. They may not know who I am, but they know that key has made all those transactions. And, it's a simple matter for the IRS to go to an exchange and say, who is that person? And they can subpoena that record and get it. So that's why it's, you want to use it for other reasons, more economical. You can go across borders. It's not you don't need permission. You can't censor it. It can't be confiscated. Those are all the right reasons to be involved in cryptocurrency, and it can't be counterfeited. But for tax purposes, don't use it for that. So
all right, now Ken,
sidetracked on that. I just wanted to give my public service announcement on that.
Okay, and I agree. I knew you meant that way. I know that's what you're saying. I know that's how you operate. And you're first class, folks. Again, Robert Kudla, first class. Christian man. I met him. We had a great time having lunch together in California a couple years ago. And again, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. He will help you understand this new world, because really that's what it is. It's kind of a new world as far as finances, currencies, markets are concerned. And I'm looking at different things. As a layman, let's just say, I look at it and I say, okay, there's cash, U.S. dollars, and there's different currencies, and they all have different values based off the U.S. petrodollar. And then I see Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are coming along now. And then I see the stock market, and there's different stock markets around the globe. So, and then I see Main Street. So I'm looking, and then there's gold and precious stones and all of those things. So I'm saying to myself, what, is Bitcoin a replacement for the dollar or just another option for for Americans and global? The Asians are in this big time. So, help us understand that. And, Bob?
Yeah, so, I view it as a whole new asset class. It's like discovering a new continent. And so, the way I personally play it is that, it's 5 to 10% of my portfolio. And gold and silver, 5 to 10% of my portfolio.
So diversify.
You got stocks, you got real estate, so, it's, don't go out there and, mortgage your home and buy Bitcoin. It's a solid way for you to defend your family against the currency devaluation that is coming in the fiat world. And make no mistake, it's coming. It's the only way they can keep the Ponzi scheme going is to continue to print more currency from around the world. The Japanese and the Koreans and the Chinese are buying this like crazy because they've lived it. They have long institutional memory of currency collapses, and China is rumbling right now in terms of their credit system going into default. And these people do not want to be instantly impoverished. You look at Venezuela, it absolutely is a replacement to their currency. Zimbabwe, replacement to their currency. And for us, it's good for us to diversify into this and to, like I do, I drip into it every week, Paul. I drip into it every week. I move things around depending on the signals from our trading room and our trading signals to optimize, how much I'm owning, but I'm always in it. And I'm just building my wealth this way, and it's independent. If the bank shut down tomorrow, Paul, Bitcoin doesn't even notice it.
Right.
But the stock market, the bond market, the mortgage market, the real estate market, the economy in general are in big trouble then.
Wow. Are you serious? But to your point, it's not being regulated by the U.S. or the feds. The Fed chair, the central bankers are not in control of Bitcoin. Although I would think they got to be trying to figure out a way to participate in this. But right now they're not. And that's your point. Right now they're not. And that independence from the rest of the world system gives people a little bit more, maybe flexibility, a little more diversity, a little more security, if you want to say it that way, that they got something that it won't be a house of cards falling. They're in a different house over here, a different system it's operating.
Yeah, I mean, look at FDR in 1932 or 33 said you got to turn your gold in. Have them try to do that now with a digital coin. You know, it's out of the country in a blink of an eye, right?
Right.
So, so it's not that simple for them to, walk into your safety deposit box and take the gold from you.
No.
So they know that, and they also know that they're printing currency, so they're trying to figure out how they can participate in it. They tried to beat it down and that didn't work. Then they tried to ignore it, that's not working, and now they're trying to say maybe we should regulate it, but that won't work either because every country in the world is going to have to participate. And the countries that don't, all the wealth in the world that's in these coins will just wait there, to cash out, and that's where the wealth will flow. Right now, there's, this thing goes to the trillions, which they think it will go. All that money move to the country where they'll allow them to cash it out. And if you run that country, and you're like, hey, if you're like Japan, and America says, well, you can't have your Bitcoin anymore, and people fly to Japan and say, hey, yeah, you can get your money out,
Right.
Convert it into yen. Well, guess what? People are just going to go over there and get their money out. So it's just a different phenomenon that they've never seen before. And it's just the beginning, Paul. The whole world is going this way. The transactions are more secure. Banks are in big trouble.
Yeah, you keep saying that. You keep saying that the banks are in trouble because the banks are losing control, and people are finding another option to put their wealth, to put their assets, and start making deals. People are buying cars, people are buying land, people are buying homes with Bitcoin instead of operating through the banking system. Let me ask you a question, because I think this is important. In America, the political process affects the stock market. It can affect different things in the global world as far as finance is concerned. Brian Ross of ABC News last week came out with a fake news story that caused the stock market to drop 350 points in 10 minutes. And then after he did this, ABC News had to recant, we're sorry. Brian Ross has been suspended. The president even tweeted that, hey, this guy, because he attacked the president, okay? And so the president says, hey, wait a minute. People who lost money when the stock market went down 350 points based on false and dishonest reporting of Brian Ross at ABC News, he has been suspended. They should consider hiring a lawyer and suing ABC for damages. My point is this. The president is saying that the fake news media can affect the stock market and people can lose a ton of money on bad reports or bad news. Does any of that affect Bitcoin?
I liken Bitcoin to owning oceanfront property in a really exclusive area. They're not making any more of it. Once they get to 2020 and the coins that they're going to make, 21 million of them are done, that's it. And you're going to have millions. There's more millionaires in the world than there are going to be Bitcoins, Paul. And everybody's going to want one because people are going to say, I'm only going to transact with you if you transact with me in Bitcoin.
So you're saying they're only going to make 21 million of these Bitcoins. That, if it's a limited amount, it's like a baseball cards trading. It's like the Horace Wagner card. There's only 2 of them left in the world. The value can only go up if that's the case, and that you're either in there playing or you're not.
Yeah, it doesn't care about the news. I'm sure the homes in the Hamptons didn't move a nickel based on that news. If you have something that people absolutely have to have, the value is going to go higher over time. And you have to realize, 85% of these coins are owned by people who bought them at $30 to $50, Paul. They're not going to be swayed by $1,000 move down in Bitcoin.
No.
It's so there's basically 10 or 15% of the coins out there are going to be circulating, and millions and millions of people are going to want to be part of it. And that's what keeps driving it higher. Every time, Bitcoin dropped 20% in 24 hours. It was a new high a day and a half later. People are just waiting, begging the system to have any kind of sell-off that they can buy into. So, until you start seeing a lot of volume come in on a sell, then this thing's going higher. And you heard the reports. A lot of people are speculating this could go from 100,000 to 1 million. The reason why those numbers are thrown around is because they're looking for purchasing power, that agrees with what gold can purchase today. So people liken a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency to like gold that's more easily transportable. And so that's why those numbers get bandied about. And nothing's telling us at this point that those numbers are unreasonable.
So you're taking your analogy here, and folks, this is Robert Kudla of TradeGeniusAcademy.com. You can go to his website, check it out, TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Now he'll help you understand the stock market trading, how to trade in and out of the stock market. He'll help you diversify your portfolio if you would like, so you want to move some assets in certain directions, and he will certainly help teach you how to get into the cryptocurrency world, specifically Bitcoin. But I think you also offer help if they want to get into other currencies, other cryptocurrencies. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah, we follow all the major currencies, cryptos, and we just example, we recommended people to buy Litecoin when it was at 55, and it hit 400 today. We recommended people to buy Ethereum when it was at 200, at 630 today. We recommended people to buy NXT when it was at 7 cents. It's at, I think, hit 62 yesterday. And so, we're following these coins, and we have algorithms and programs that we use to buy and when to exit or lighten up a position. And we have software that people can put on their TradingView application, which is a popular application. And then we have trading rooms that are running 24/7, Paul, with hundreds of traders in there that are more than happy to help out a newbie or somebody who has a lot of questions. And we provide trade signals on top of that as well. So, we provide a full service to really help educate people into making more of the right decisions around trading stocks and cryptocurrencies and making less of the bad decisions.
So you've got some specials at your website at TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. You've got some Christmas specials, holiday specials. You want to share? We're putting some of those on the screen here. Help us understand what it is you're got available.
Yeah, we're doing here is I should have worked last weekend. My partner went in there and slashed the prices on me, and I feel like a mattress salesman here. Get it for free. But just kidding. We've just put some really incredible deals together for people to take advantage of what we're doing here in the marketplace, and people have, Paul. We've just been overwhelmed with how excited people are about what we're doing to help them. I mean, we get answers like, "You've changed my life," and that makes you feel pretty good as somebody who's just providing education and support. And we think this has a couple years to run, and we want people to be on the front end of it. So we're offering specials for trading rooms, specials for the courses, specials for the software, combinations of those. We even have 2-for-1 specials for people who can come in with a friend or a family member, which is even a better deal. So we have a lot of options for people, very, very well priced for people to take advantage of this. And what you pay versus what you get out of it is absolutely in your favor.
And so when we look at the whole picture, folks, the Trump effect, I think what I'm hearing you say is the Trump effect does affect, obviously, people's confidence is high, and they are going to get there is going to be a tax break. The middle class may not get as much as they were hoping to get, but it looks like there is a significant tax break that will have helped business. He's already deregulated, so that's fueling some of this economy. He's already saying bring the manufacturing base back to America. That's going to fuel the economy. And so the stock market feels good. The main streets feels good. Everything seems to be moving. But your point about Bitcoin, it's sort of like, oceanfront property. It doesn't matter what happens. Its value, there's only so much oceanfront property, and value can only go up. I think that was a significant information for. It's not emotional then. Bitcoin's not based on emotion.
Going up as the dollar's been going up these last 2 weeks too, so it just doesn't care. It's my other partner who trades these all the time. He says it's kind of like the honey badger. It's on a mission, and nothing can dissuade it from increasing in value.
Well, is it based on the Bitcoin's value at $17,849 right now? Okay, per coin. The question I have is that's the U.S. dollar value. But what if the dollar really takes a bad turn over the next 4 or 5 years? Is Bitcoin lose value, or can you just bounce it off a different currency?
It'll go through the roof, Paul.
What?
Yeah, because you got to realize the only reason why the dollar is going to go down in value is if they're printing too much of it.
Right.
And Bitcoin's on it. It's 1,800 Bitcoins a day, and in 2 years it becomes half that. And in 2021, they're done printing them. They're mined. They're in circulation, and no more will be created. So if the dollar falls, the value of the Bitcoin is going to rise in relation to that dollar.
Similar to gold. If the dollar falls, gold goes up, generally.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, gold, just go Bitcoin. Gold's going to go do just fine too. And, so gold, silver, energy, anything that's tangible is going to rise in value over time against the dollar. But the cryptocurrencies are going to rocket because when they start, making the dollar less valuable, Paul, all the other countries around the world are going to devalue their currencies to try to keep up with America. That's why you see Bitcoin continue to rise. Bitcoin sees that. Bitcoin's simply a reflection of the worldwide central bankers' prolificacy in creating more and more credit and currency. It's just a reflection. It's saying you're not going to diminish my value because you're printing. It's just a mirror.
So quantum easing, which is what central bankers have been doing for a long time, pumping foreign currencies, whether it's euro dollars, the yen, the U.S. dollar, everything, just just quantum easing. That's what's been going on. That's only devaluing a currency. The more of them out there, the less value it has. You're saying Bitcoin is not subject to that. It's totally independent of that. And thus...
Yeah, they can't print more of it.
Right. Wow. Well, I do know, I just saw an article just come out on the 7 new cryptocurrencies to watch in 2018. You just mentioned Litecoin. Is there any other that you would recommend?
Well, the big three are Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. And then in China, Neo is very popular, and people like Neo because it actually pays a dividend. There's a coin called Populous that's popular because it also pays a dividend. And then there's Monero, which is even has tighter confidentiality rules around it, to protect people's identity. That one's doing well. But you got IBM that's sponsoring a coin called Stellar, which has done stellar. And you have American Express and the banks that are supporting a coin called Ripple, which isn't moving like the other ones, but it has a different purpose. So, and one thing that people need, and I think that's the big value that we provide in the room, is that when we do our weekly show on cryptocurrencies, people are always asking about new coins. We're researching the new coins all the time, and by the end of next year, a lot of these coins are going to go away, Paul. So I really encourage people to take a really good hard look at what is the value of this coin against what the top coins are able to do, because they're not going to last. Companies cannot afford to connect to every coin out there in the marketplace. So they're just going to stay with the biggest coins or the most popular coins unless it has a really, really unique value proposition. And so I always advise people who want to chase this coin or that coin, saying, hey, it may not be around, in a year or two. Just, stay with the big guys. You're going to make enough money.
Okay, here's a question for you. Is the Russians involved? I mean, have the Russians, I know, look, they've been working with this new currency. They want to create this, the BRIC. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South America. They've been talking about maybe creating is there a cryptocurrency being discussed among the Russians?
No, they're open to it. Anything in the Russian viewpoint, anything that diminishes the value of the petrodollar is of interest to them. So I think Russians are very interested in cryptocurrencies because it's a good way for them to protect their money against what goes on inside of a very opaque run government. But the Russians themselves aren't necessarily coming out. What you're going to see more with the Russians and the Chinese is more like they're going to trade with each other in their own currencies. They may pick one. The guy who founded Ethereum, he's kind of has a Russian background. He's been to Russia. I think there's a high degree of interest in his technology. So I wouldn't be surprised that all countries start adopting a coin of some sort, but there's nothing that I've seen on the horizon that it's going to be Russian blessed yet.
All right, that's important to understand. And so, folks, if you need to know more about, obviously, our conversation over 30 minutes or so, look, we're just scraping the surface. I'm just asking the questions to try to understand. And if you really want the expertise, you need to go to his website. Go to TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Get a hold of Bob Kudla. Get in there, understand it, let him help you through the process, and he will do that. And it's really amazing, really, the phenomenon that's going on now in this cryptocurrency world we're in. We're seeing a change again taking place. And Bob, you've got some specials. Tell everybody again, before we let you go here, what kind of specials you got?
Yeah, we have 8 specials running right now where you can, buy the crypto package, you could buy the stock package, you could buy coaching, you could buy courses, you could buy any combination of any of those together. You could buy a complete package of everything we offer. And we even have family plans or buddy plans where you can, 2 people can sign up together and you get even more additional savings. And we're running those here, through the holidays here. This special ends on the 15th of December, and so take advantage of it. A lot of people have.
All right, folks, there's about 3 days left on that special, so check it out. Go to TradeGeniusAcademy.com. That's TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Appreciate them being a sponsor of our broadcast, and great guy, Bob Kudla. He'll help you understand it, and you can diversify, of course. TradeGenius.com. Bob, appreciate you being with us. It's been a pleasure again. Very enlightening, very eye-opening every time I talk with you.
No, thank you, and Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you in the new year.
All right. God bless.
Bye-bye.